Okay, settle in everyone, because today we're going deep into a fascinating concept called the winner effect. You know that feeling, right? When you win, you feel like you can take on the world, and maybe you even find yourself winning more. Conversely, when you hit a losing streak, it can feel like you just can't catch a break. Well, it turns out there's some real science behind this, and I've been digging into it primarily through the lens of Ian H. Robertson's book on the topic. I looked at a couple of great summaries, a detailed one from Ari's notes and a snappier overview from Snapteal on YouTube to really get a handle on this. So let's unpack this whole dynamic of winning, losing, and the surprising ways power shapes us. The core idea is almost deceptively simple. The more you win, the more likely you are to win again. And yep, you guessed it, the more you lose, the more likely you are to keep losing. But why? Is it just momentum? Like we often say in sports? Well, the summaries I looked at really highlight something crucial. Winning, even small victories, triggers a biological change in your body. It actually causes your body to produce more testosterone. Whoa, right? So this isn't just a psychological boost or a feeling of confidence, although that happens too. It's a biological shift, and we know testosterone is linked to being more assertive, more confident, more willing to take risks. Naturally, feeling and acting that way can genuinely increase your odds of success next time around. And the flip side holds true. When you lose, your testosterone levels can dip. This can lead to feeling less confident, more hesitant, less likely to put yourself out there or take those necessary risks. It's like a biological downswing that reinforces the losing cycle. To really see this in action, Ari's notes had this incredible example involving cichlid fish. Imagine this. You have dominant winner fish, and they're literally brightly colored. Then you have the subordinate loser fish, which are dull and drab. Now, here's the amazing part. If one of those dull, subordinate fish manages to win, maybe it gains a little territory, which is a huge win in their world, something remarkable happens. Its testosterone levels shoot up. It becomes more aggressive. Its colors actually brighten to match the dominant winner fish. It starts acting like a top dog, a dominant male. It's a total transformation, triggered by that single win. Another study mentioned, I think in the Snaptail summary, looked at fish in groups. Put a fish with a bunch of smaller fish, and it quickly becomes the dominant alpha. Why? Because it wins those initial easy encounters. That gives it the testosterone boost, setting it on that winner trajectory. It shows just how powerfully a change in social standing, driven by winning, can reshape not just behavior, but actual biology and even appearance. It's not just thinking you're a winner. Your body starts acting like one. So what does this mean for you? Think about a project you're working on, a personal goal you're striving for. Those early, maybe small wins are incredibly crucial. They build that biological and psychological momentum. They help you avoid getting stuck in that rut, that downward spiral where losing makes future losses more likely. It's vital to find ways to secure those initial victories to build that foundation. Now let's pivot slightly and talk about power. The drive for power is deeply ingrained in us. Both summaries made a pretty intense point. The desire for power can be as strong as our fundamental need for things like food or sex. That's a powerful statement. It's primal. Why do we crave it so much? Whether it's social status, money, authority, power gives us a sense of control. And that feeling of control over our lives and environment is something we seem hardwired to want. Think back to our evolutionary past. Having more control, more resources, directly impacted survival. Those drives are still with us today, even if we're not consciously thinking about saber-toothed tigers. And this link between power, or the lack of it, and our well-being is profound. Studies consistently show that people lower down on the social hierarchy tend to experience more chronic stress. This makes them more susceptible to illness, and sadly, they often have shorter lifespans. Constantly feeling powerless literally wears down your body. Conversely, those at the top, with more control, generally experience better health and live longer. It's likely a mix of factors: access to resources, reduced stress, that inherent sense of control, but the correlation is strong. Okay, so what happens when we do get power? How does it change us? The summaries highlight a few potential shifts, and they aren't all positive. One major point is a potential decrease in perspective taking. When people are in positions of power, They can become less attuned to the thoughts and feelings of others. They become more focused on their own goals and might struggle to see things from someone else's viewpoint. It can lead to a kind of tunnel vision. I need to achieve this goal, sometimes overlooking risks or even ethical considerations along the way. Power can make you more self-focused. There's also the illusion of control. People in power can overestimate their actual ability to influence events. They feel more powerful than they might objectively be. And then there's the phenomenon of keeping mum, which Ari's notes mentioned. People lower in a hierarchy are often less likely to speak up, maybe about problems or concerns. Why? Fear of consequences. They don't want to rock the boat, risk their position or relationships. This is a form of self-preservation, but it can create a culture of silence, where important issues don't get addressed, which ultimately isn't good for anyone. Interestingly, Snapteal brought up a distinction between P-power and S-power. P-power is about personal gain, dominance, control over others, often associated with traditional masculine traits. S-power, on the other hand, is more about using power for the benefit of the group or community, empowering others, working collaboratively, often associated with feminine traits. The summaries suggest S-power might be a more sustainable and ethical approach, focusing on the greater good rather than just individual advancement. It might even help explain why historically there have been fewer female dictators. It seems the very qualities that can help someone achieve power, that intense drive and focus on goals, can backfire if not balanced with empathy and perspective. It truly is a double-edged sword. Now, what about the innate drive to succeed in the first place? Both summaries emphasize that we have this inherent need to achieve things. It's like a basic psychological need, similar to hunger or thirst. It's not just about external rewards like money or fame, though those can play a role. It goes deeper. It's about the satisfaction of challenging ourselves, overcoming obstacles, mastering skills, and feeling that sense of accomplishment. However, Ari's notes pointed out a fascinating paradox. Inheriting a lot of money, getting everything easily, can sometimes decrease motivation. If you already have everything, what is there to strive for? You can lose that sense of purpose, that drive that comes from working towards something. It seems we need goals, we need something to work towards to feel truly fulfilled. And for those of us working towards those big goals, remember the power of small wins. They provide that little dopamine hit, the brain's reward chemical, that makes you feel good and keeps you motivated. It's like building momentum, step by step. Each small success reinforces the desire to keep going. Crucially, this drive to succeed isn't something we're necessarily born with. It's nurtured. Our early experiences, our parents, our teachers, they play a huge role. Encouraging children to try new things, to persist even when things are tough, and celebrating the effort rather than just innate talent is key. This fosters a growth mindset, the belief that abilities can be developed, rather than a fixed mindset where you believe talent is static. That growth mindset is what helps us bounce back from setbacks and see challenges as opportunities to learn. Which brings us back to control and its darker side, learned helplessness. This is a tough but important concept. It happens when you've been exposed to so much negativity, so many situations you couldn't control, that you essentially give up. Even when an opportunity to escape or change the situation arises, you don't even try because you've learned that your efforts are futile. An extreme example mentioned was torture. The feeling of having absolutely no control is psychologically devastating. But even the belief that you have some small measure of control, even in a terrible situation, can foster resilience. And this doesn't just apply to physical threats. Snapteal talked about social evaluative threat, basically the fear of being judged by others. As social creatures, we care deeply about what others think. The fear of negative judgment can be a major source of stress and anxiety, a feeling of being powerless to control others' perceptions. Let's quickly revisit the brain chemistry. Dopamine, the reward chemical, gets released when we win, achieve goals, or even just anticipate success. It makes us feel good and want to repeat the behavior. Testosterone, boosted by winning, actually amplifies the effects of dopamine. So you get this double whammy, a powerful feedback loop that makes winning feel really, really good, almost addictive. Snapteal linked this to the Wolf of Wall Street cycle, the relentless pursuit of more success, more wealth, more power, because the chemical high is so reinforcing. But there's always a catch. Too much dopamine isn't good. It can lead to impulsivity, clouded judgment, and has even been linked to certain mental health issues. Moderation, as always, is key. And genetics play a role too. Some people, possibly due to variations in genes like DRD4, are more sensitive to dopamine's effects and might be more prone to these addictive cycles or risk-taking behaviors. And sadly, as we touched on, the pursuit and attainment of power can make us less empathetic. Studies show even temporary, minor boosts in power can make people less focused on others, less likely to consider their perspectives, and potentially even start seeing others as mere tools to achieve their own goals. So bringing this all together for our everyday lives, what does having a winning mindset truly mean? It's not just about personal achievement, although that's part of it. The summaries suggest a real winner is someone who not only achieves their own goals, but also uses their power and influence, their S-power, to make a positive impact, to benefit others, to contribute to the greater good. It's about finding that win-win. Remember cognitive dissonance? Our brains don't like it when our actions and beliefs conflict. If we act kindly towards someone, even if we didn't initially like them, our brain might adjust our feelings to match our actions. We start to like them more to resolve the dissonance. This shows how our behavior can shape our attitudes, and power dynamics are everywhere. Not just bosses and employees, but parents and children, friends, romantic partners. Being aware of these dynamics, communicating openly, setting healthy boundaries, and ensuring everyone feels heard and respected is crucial for healthy relationships. Authoritarian approaches, where one person exerts too much control, like in parenting, can actually lead to negative outcomes like aggression or rebellion later on, as the less powerful person tries to reclaim some sense of agency, sometimes in unhealthy ways like bullying. Finally, let's acknowledge the ascendant line of advantage that Ari's notes discussed. Some factors, like wealth, height, physical attractiveness, social connections, can give people an initial head start in life. Taller people might get more attention, be perceived as more leader-like, leading to more opportunities. It doesn't mean success is guaranteed or that life is easy for them, but it does mean that others might have to work harder to overcome initial disadvantages. It's a complex mix, but the good news, the really empowering takeaway is that even small wins create positive cycles. Regardless of your starting point, you can build momentum. So as you go about your day, think about this. What's one small win you can aim for today? Just one thing you can do to start building that positive momentum in an area you care about? And how can you become more mindful of the power dynamics in your own relationships, at home, at work, in your community? How can you use whatever influence you have, big or small, in a positive S-power kind of way? Understanding the winner effect isn't just about maximizing personal success. It's about understanding ourselves, our biology, our interactions, and how we can navigate the world more effectively and ethically. Power is everywhere. Understanding it helps us use it for good. Keep exploring these ideas.